Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? Welcome to our Bachelor in Paradise Live. We have 3 hours of content to cover, so there is so much to get into with Ivan being exposed for sneaking into Alexa's room. McKenna and Anna have entered the beach, and of course, the Paradise Prom where Aaron stole his bro James's girl, Tia. That whole situation. We have so much to dive into. Abigail and Noah, oh my god, so much. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined today by the lovely Fiona Zaring and Mariah Davis. Fiona, how are we doing? How did you like the 3 hours? Do you think it should be 3 hours every week? Let me know.
Listen, I am doing well. I thought it was truly a marathon last night. I can get through 2 3-hour episodes a season, and that is it. It was certainly jam-packed, but it was a little exhausting. I feel like it was just an emotional roller coaster. I don't know. Mariah, how are you feeling watching that episode?
It was a lot. I mean, like, I'm here for it when there's a lot to unpack and there's so much to see go down. And not to say that there wasn't. I think we can all agree a lot went down and we have tons to unpack. But I think there were moments where I got kind of bored and zoned out because I feel like they're just packing a bunch of content in there. A lot of the prom stuff that wasn't like hot, juicy stuff. I was like, okay, like let's move along here. So I'm with you, Fiona. I can only handle so many 3-hour episodes.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the prom. I thought it was like fun because like it was like everyone getting dressed up and like it's nice to see them at a party outside of the beach, but it also reminded me how high school Bachelor Nation is. Not only does everyone hook up with each other and gossip about each other, but like them going to a prom, doing the prom king and queen. I'm just like, really? Really? I don't know. I also wanted to be there too, so who am I to say that I didn't? But it was still a really good episode. 3 whole hours, so much to unpack. We're going to get all into it. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future Bachelor videos. And we have to start with the Ivan and Aaron fights, which continued on from last week when Ivan was talking to Chelsea, or was Chelsea talking to Ivan? Fiona, what did you make of that whole situation and the fight? Did you think, I'm glad that Riley broke it up because it got kind of serious.
It did. It got really serious. And I have to say, I think that the energy that Aaron was putting out there didn't really surprise me. He definitely is passionate. He gets riled up, pretty quickly. He goes 0 to 100. But I was kind of surprised to see that side of Ivan. He was being so intense in a different way, you know what I mean? Like he had a lot of trash talk going on. Like I've always kind of pictured him as being like soft-spoken, a peacemaker. So I was very, very blown away by it. And of course, being in the audience, I knew he was lying the whole time, So that made it even worse. It was really hard to watch.
No, it really was because Ivan kept on saying, no, Chelsea came up to me. And then, in fact, when Chelsea realized that Ivan said that and, Chelsea and Aaron were able to talk, it actually was Ivan who approached Chelsea. And Ivan just kind of looked desperate. I feel like he stayed on the show for so long where he almost like overstayed his welcome. And obviously it's not his fault that things didn't work out with Jasenia or Kendall. And I know a lot of people were really rooting for Ivan going into this season, but I think he just stayed too long. And we're going to get to the whole Alexa thing in a second. But Mariah, what did you think about the fight and the whole Chelsea situation?
It really made me see Ivan in such a bad light. I really liked Ivan before. He always struck me as so mature and soft-spoken, but I thought that was really attractive about him. Like he was a secure person that was sturdy, and well, women love that in a man. We love that in men, yes, plural. But I am so disappointed in him. I felt like his behavior was so immature and just, yes, Aaron is a hothead. Like he always overreacts. Like he reacted the way we knew he would. He's a very passionate person. I don't think Aaron was really in the wrong. Of course, I think situations are always better handled when you remove your passion from the situation. But seeing Ivan trash talk and get in his face and trying to promote a fight to take place, it was just really gross to me. It was toxic male behavior. So it really struck a chord with me. I think Ivan, yes, he was there too long, but I think he became a villain on Bachelor in Paradise, which just blindsided me. I did not see that coming at all.
No, no
Yeah.
one did. He was a fan favorite. I was rooting for him so hard throughout the entire season. And like it got even worse because then it felt like he tried to play Chelsea and he was especially when he like
Yes.
left at the rose ceremony because he only wanted Alexa to come in. So he was trying to get Chelsea's rose. So now it's like not only is he fighting with Aaron, I mean Aaron like gets in everyone's face. This is just Aaron behavior, but he's like provoking Aaron knowing that he's lying about Chelsea. And then on top of all of that, he knows that this girl Alexa from Peter's season is coming down the beach next week and he's just trying to get a rose to stay. So it was just such sketchy behavior. And, you know, he ended up getting confronted by Wells going into the Bachelor principal office. Fiona, what did you make of that situation of Wells pulling Ivan aside?
You know, I think Wells handled this moment like a champ, and I can't tell you how glad I was that it was Wells and not Little John, you know what I mean, here in this moment, because it felt very serious. And I think that Ivan, at least in this moment, found himself again and did fess up and was honest and didn't try to come up with some sort of runaround story, which I think was really, really important here. It was literally the only move he had in front of him. But after we watched Aaron get ganged up on the beach by everybody for something that wasn't true and Chelsea be put in the middle of it, it felt like he needed to be called to the principal's office, right? Even if it wasn't Alexa related, I needed him to be sat down with someone to take a deep breath and recognize that in the last 48, 72, however many hours it was, he made some mistakes and it was like just time to go. There was no coming back from it.
It was. And basically what happened, Ivan said, his story was that he saw a producer's phone with all of the room numbers. It just so happened to be there. And he saw what room number Alexa was in. And then he walked down the hall to go to her room in the middle of the night. And love makes you do crazy things. Mariah, do we really think that he saw a producer's phone? Do you think he went through a producer's phone? Or do you think a producer set him up?
It's so hard to not believe that a producer set him up because we know producers, especially Bachelor producers, are shady. I mean, they want to produce good TV. At this point, though, like when the storm happened and they all had to evacuate, like Ivan wasn't the villain at this point. So were they already, I mean, trying to orchestrate it to where he would be portrayed that way? They were going to change his character for us all. I mean, but after seeing like Ivan's true colors on the beach after that incident, it doesn't surprise me that he would do something shady like that to go through somebody's phone. I mean, maybe the rooms were up, but who just leaves their phone open with like information on it for people to see and then leaves? You know, like that's sketchy to me. It's hard to know really what the scenario actually was. I wouldn't put it past Ivan though. Given his behavior and like when he told everybody about it, he seemed so disappointed that he did it, which makes me think, okay, yes, Ivan did, like he is guilty. Maybe this wasn't producers. Maybe, you know, he really did, like he went through the, I don't know. I don't know. I do think Ivan is to blame, but we can't be surprised if producers set a trap for him.
Or what if the producer got caught and like what if the producer was just trying to help Ivan and then Ivan was covering for the producer when he was talking to Wells? That could be a situation too. I don't think Ivan's a bad guy at all. I don't feel like he like wanted to disappoint everyone. I think he just was there too long and just kind of got disappointed by being single for so long and he was just like F it and was just like I might as well just go see Alexa down the hall. And Alexa doesn't even end up getting brought in now because Ivan kind of ruined her chances. Fiona, what's your take? Do you think the producer got caught, set him up? And are you justice for Alexa? Like, do we feel like Alexa got kind of like unfair in this?
Yeah, I mean, she is such a cool girl. But just from her name, I was like, who's Alexa? Who's Alexa? But seeing her photo and realizing who she was, I'm sad we don't get to see her this season. I certainly hope they bring her back in the future. I have to say, my gut tells me, I felt like there was a very authentic moment where Ivan was basically like, going to the hotel, I was lost. Like, at that point, I feel like cards were on the table for him. Who was he making a connection with? What was he doing there? The process is so draining, so exhausting. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, they make very close relationships with these producers, right? We don't see them, but we know it's there. We know someone has sort of like a confidant, a producer that they probably have the ear of more than others. I don't think there's a 0% chance that he was sitting with someone he has gotten close to, who maybe all season long he's been trying to get hints from, hey, is Alexa from Peter's season coming? Are you guys going to send in Alexa from Peter's season, right? And this producer, maybe in a desperate moment to get him to stay, slid her phone across the table to let him know that, like, hey, there's a little bit of hope. And then he couldn't help himself, and he took it and he ran with it. I think this is someone who at the end of the day is a good person, but this process drained him, put him on the wrong path, got him, you know, to show an ugly side of himself, and he's going to have to deal with the repercussions of that for a while.
Yeah, he's not getting, you know, so much, like, not everyone in Bachelor Nation loves him right now. He's not everyone's favorite person. I think what happened is I think they went back to the hotel, and I feel like Ivan asked the producer, can I borrow your phone for your second? Like, I want to see some pictures or just, like, whatever, because now they're not filming anymore. They're, like, in the hotel, and I think Ivan was just, like, maybe he wanted to make a quick phone call to his mom or something, and then I think it was probably really easy for him, but I think Ivan kind of snuck through the producer's phone and then ended up going behind the producer's back to go to Alexa's room. But it's like, how is Ivan so dumb? Because even if they're not filming Bachelor cameras, every single hotel has cameras in the hallway. Like, have you ever been to a hotel where they don't have cameras? So how does he think that they're not going to figure it out? Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Ivan, you know, it is what it is. Ivan also put on, like, a comment section today saying that he may or may not have been the only one that snuck out. So I don't know if he's just trying to deflect and maybe seem like he's not the only person that snuck out. But Ivan, you're totally the only person that snuck out. I don't believe you. But Fiona, I want to know, do you think Brendan or Ivan, who do you think was the bigger villain throughout the season?
I have to say, my villain is still Brendan, right? Because I feel like what Brendan did was manipulative. I think that when he was caught, he had more than one chance to handle it in a way that wouldn't have painted as ugly as a picture as it did. I firmly believe that there isn't no universe where we could have been obsessed with Brendan and Piper and it all could have played out differently. And it's just how he handled the situation and what his character was. And I think he was cold and nasty and calculated. So I still feel like Brendan went into paradise with, let's say, the wrong intentions, right? There for the wrong reasons. I think Ivan made a major mistake, got swept up in the process after how many weeks of drinking and exhaustion and having to fight for roses and getting his heart let down and all of the things. He really, really messed up, no denying it. But I have a better feeling overall about his character.
Yeah, 100%. I just obviously had to ask the question. And I think the final question in all of this is, Mariah, is there going to be a happily ever after for Ivan and Alexa?
I don't know. I would be pretty bitter if I was Alexa to go through that process. And who knows how long she had to be in that hotel room in Mexico waiting for them to bring her down. And then her chances get completely ruined. I mean, regardless, it sucks. You're right. All because of him and him being impulsive and reckless. But regardless, it is not good for anybody who comes down those stairs this late in the game because everyone has already formed solid relationships. And if there is someone who is single on the beach, the likelihood of you walking away in a serious relationship is really slim because they only have like a week left. You know, it sucks to be in that position regardless. So who's to say that she doesn't try to take something from the experience, and that is, you know, whatever she could have possibly sparked up with Ivan that night. I also kind of think that Ivan was looking forward to her coming down the stairs, and so he saw an opportunity, like, you know, he's been left behind. He hasn't been chosen. He has not been, he's been more of a girl's guy than the guy all the girls want. So maybe he saw an opportunity. I want to lock something down with Alexis or Alexa? Drawing a blank.
Alexa.
Maybe he wanted to try to lock something down with her beforehand and get the upper hand. So when she did come down, she would already be all about Ivan. I agree. I don't think he's a bad guy. I agree with you, Fiona. I think he just got so swept up in the process, was tired of not getting yeses from anyone, not being desired by anyone. Brendan is 100% still like the ultimate villain ever in my mind. And I do think Ivan can come back from this for sure. I hope that he has a relationship with Alexa. I mean, at least it would be worth it all. But regardless, I don't think everyone will be mad at him for very long.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're friends, but I would be pissed off if I was Alexa at Ivan because he kind of like ruined her chances and then, brought her into this whole scandal and scheme. We never even get to see Alexa's
Right.
face, which is so funny. But also, like, what is Alexa going to do if Ivan's knocking on her door at 10 p.m. at night and she's been alone, quarantined in a hotel for who knows how long?
Right.
So, of course, she's going to let him in. Who knows what happened? But either way, Ivan left the beach. He kind of made it seem like he like sent himself home. But Ivan, you got kicked out of paradise. You are not fooling anyone here. And you know what? We're going to have to see what happens when Ivan goes on someone's podcast because he did tweet that whatever podcast he goes on first, he has a lot of tea to spill. So we will definitely be looking forward to hearing that. But we need to move on to, not Ivan, Anna, who just came down from the beach. Anna is most known for her facial expressions. That is what she said when she arrived. However, if anyone watches The Bachelor, Anna is most known for falsely accusing Brittany of being an escort on Matt James's season. So let's get it right, Anna. Fiona, were you happy to see Anna enter the beach?
No.
Exactly.
For more reasons than one, honestly. I did not love her on Matt James's season. I thought what she did was horrible. I remember at the time her apology did seem like, again, somebody who realized that they made a huge mistake and didn't realize the magnitude of it and felt very ashamed of their actions. Definitely would give her that apology at the time did seem genuine, but she wasn't a fan favorite of mine. It's too late in the season. It's just unnecessary. It's not even creating chaos. You know what I mean? I just kind of felt like we don't need this. This is why the episode's 3 hours long. We don't need this.
Yeah. Somebody gave a good point to me. They're like, they should stop bringing people in because now it's unfair. They should just start to slowly dissolve, especially because there's one episode left next week and there's still 16 people on the beach. Everyone's just going to be dropping like flies next week. But Anna came in and she ended up asking James on the date. The two really hit things off because it seems like James dumps Tia for Anna, which we'll get into later. But Mariah, what are your thoughts on James and Anna? Do we think that this is a couple? Could they even get engaged in 3 days? Do you see this?
Totally don't think they're going to get engaged. But I will say this is the first woman that has entered the beach that has shown a genuine interest in James and not just to get a rose. I mean, that definitely could be the case here. All of the other guys she talked to said that they would not go on a date. So maybe he was kind of a last resort, but on their date, they seem to have good chemistry. They did seem to be really about each other. James, I feel like it's really about anyone he's spending time with because he's
I know.
he's had a really rough go of it. He has not been able to lock something down, but she seemed to be really into it. And I hope that's genuine because I love James. He's a handsome man. There's no denying it. But there's something about him, I would never date him. And I don't know what that is, but I feel like that is what he's faced with, and he's been faced with all through Bachelor in Paradise. So I hope that he and Anna work out. I mean, I gotta say, I'm with you guys. I am not a fan of Anna. I know she's trying to, have accountability for her actions and, cast a different light, but it's not that I don't buy it. I'm sure that she has seen the error of her ways, but I cannot see her in a different way. Anytime she speaks, I get cringy. I just get cringy.
Mariah,
and it's
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I get it. Mariah, I want to ask you this then. Who would you give your rose to on the beach? Who would you think is most boyfriend material for you? Obviously, you have a boyfriend, but still. Grocery store Joe?
Oh my God, Joe. He is, he's my Prince Charming. He's so funny, but he's also the dad of the group. He will shut anything down, shut all the BS down. But when he smiles, it's lights up my life.
Oh my God, I would give my rose to Aaron. I just love how handsome he is, but I just love how much drama he brings. So I would give my rose to Aaron.
Right.
But back to James, who's Aaron's better half. I stan James. I did not like him that much, or not that I never liked him, but I just always thought he was so cringe from box days on Katie's season all the way to Paradise when he's trying to get a rose from Victoria and then Demi and then Tia. But James is someone who's grown on me throughout time, and now that he's still on the beach, how many episodes later because he's been flip-flopping, I stan him. I think he's so funny. I love his romance with Aaron. He's been in some of the end credits. He's just a good time. So I'm here for James. Fiona, are you here for James?
Oh, totally. I think that he is a really, really good guy. And I think that I think that why we're all starting to like him, or at least why I am, is it's not that he is like some big player, right? That has been bouncing from
Mm-hmm.
girl to girl all season long. It seems like with the most genuine intentions every week, he is just trying, not giving up, trying to make a connection, trying to figure it out. And honestly, he's been snubbed, like passed over back and forth, and kept up a positive attitude throughout it all. Didn't seem to like create any beef with people who had wronged him. So I just think he really does have a good heart. I'm also here for the bromance with Aaron. And not that I was thrilled to see them sending more people down onto the beach, not that Anna is my favorite person, but I did kind of see a spark, the biggest spark I've seen with someone for him all season. So I am hopeful that at least his last couple of days in paradise turn out to be really great for him.
I hope so too. And obviously, we're not big fans of Anna, but in Anna's defense, she put up a really funny TikTok this morning, like some audio where she was like, James, like, because James was like the last guy. So check it out. We'll give give her some views on TikTok because, she's just not everyone's favorite. So it must be hard for her going back on TV. So, we'll pour one out for Anna. But another person who arrived so late into the game was McKenna. And McKenna had no one to take on a date because everyone was coupled up. She asked Aaron on a date and he turned her down. And before I even say what happened, Fiona, can you imagine what would have happened if Tammy was there and McKenna asked Aaron on a date? Like, I can't even.
No, there were some missed drama opportunities that I think producers were definitely bummed about this season, and that was one of them. And I have to say, I thought of you while watching this episode because I know how badly you wanted that round too. But you know what? At least we know that McKenna didn't do it to spite Tammy because she didn't know any better. So hopefully off screen, there's no like drama playing out in real life. But it would have been wild to see that happen on the show for sure.
God. It would have been so good. So literally McKenna has no one to ask on a date. She's crying on the beach, which is typical McKenna. If you remember her from Peter's season, she's always crying. It's kind of been her thing. And Ed comes and saves the day and kind of has to like convince / force McKenna to go on her date with Ed. Like McKenna's complaining that no one's available. And then Ed is like, hi, I'm here. Mariah, what did you make of that? Because I felt like Ed did the right thing and saved the day.
I thought it was really sweet. I mean, I'm not a McKenna fan either. I did find her very annoying, but she's out here trying to find love. And, we got to give props to anybody who may have had some negative experience on whatever season they were on that is going to put themselves out there and face potential scrutiny all over again. So I thought it was so sweet, like knight in shining armor, to go and be like, hey, like I would love to go on a date. And I liked when she had kind of turned him down. He said, you know what, we'll go on the date. If you don't like it, if you hate it, then you can go, but at least give it a try. I thought that was really sweet. But I also thought it was a little sad because she showed interest in pretty much every man there besides him. So it kind of seemed like, okay, well, she's not interested in him. Is she just going on the date now because it's her ego is struck and someone is like making her feel a little bit better? So I don't see them working out at all. I think it was really sweet of him to do this. It obviously comforted her, but I don't think that she had an interest in him to begin with. So I don't really see it going anywhere.
And it really felt like a dad, like, lecturing a kid. Like, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it, but at least try it. And McKenna was acting like a 16-year-old. However, I still feel like she deserved to go on a date because remember a few weeks ago she was at that party with that Titus Burgess threw? Like, she has been quarantined in this hotel for a minute. Like, she did deserve to go to Paradise and go on a date, regardless if we are Team McKenna or not. Like, I did feel bad for her. My heart went out for her. But a lot of people are upset, and Natasha is upset that Ed went on that date. A lot of us are still #justice for Team Natasha. Do you think, Fiona, that Ed, shouldn't have done that because he has a possible growing connection with Natasha?
At first I was sort of like, oh, I feel a little bit bad for McKenna. This is so great. Oh no, what about Natasha? Like had the same, I think, back and forth that a lot of us were having. But then I was trying to think of it through the perspective of like, yes, for Natasha, she's been on this beach for such a long time. She really deserves a stable, solid connection, all of that, which I fully believe. But for Ed, he's been there for 5 minutes. And so when people have been in Paradise for 5 minutes, you're still in that mindset of this is Paradise. I'm exploring connections. I'm figuring things out. Like, it was sort of similar to, I feel like, Chelsea's behavior when she kissed Ivan was like so jarring because we've been watching these journeys for so long, but they just got here, and they're playing the same game that we were very used to watching in the beginning. So I feel like on a personal level, my heart broke for Natasha and I felt so bad. But I don't think we can hold it against Ed, right? Because they're not in anything serious yet, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, Ed wanted to go on a date. He just got here. So we'll see what happens with Ed and McKenna and James and Anna. Most likely they're both going to break up next week because they're probably not ready for an engagement like 2 days later. So we'll have to see. But I do want to remind everyone to subscribe to our channel, obviously, but we are doing a Q&A at the end of today's live. And if you guys have any questions, definitely put them in the comment section right now or tweet us at Shared News. We love reading your tweets. We love responding to your tweets and your questions. So definitely stay to the end of this live so we can hear from you guys, because now we have to get into the prom, the Bachelor in Paradise annual prom. Abigail and Serena stumbled upon this 80s theme prom, and everyone started getting together their promposals and coupling up. Mariah, who was your favorite out of the promposals or couples that are going to the prom?
I just love Serena and Joe. I did mention Joe. I crush on Joe. I think he's so handsome and I love his personality, but I love Serena too. I think she's so beautiful and I love her personality and I really love them together. This is so cute. I mean, it may be a little not creative. You're on a beach. How do you ask someone to prom? Oh, you write prom in the sand. Okay, that might not be that creative, but it's still so sweet. And I honestly think I like this proposal most just because they are my favorite couple.
That's fair. What about you, Fiona? Who was your favorite couple or your favorite promposal?
I have to say, without a doubt, favorite couple would be Joe and Serena. I love them. My second favorite couple would be Riley and Mauricia. I loved both their outfits. I loved both their promposals. I thought that this entire extravaganza was super cute, super well done, and a lot of fun. I do think, kind of like Mariah said at the top of the show, it dragged on a bit, but I loved all the promposals. I was glad we got to see them, and I thought that part was fun. I guess if I had to pick, I would probably also say Joe and Serena, but again, it's because it's they're your favorite couple, so it's hard to not stack the deck.
Oh my God. I'm the only one I think that isn't Team Joe and Serena. It's not that I don't like them. They're just not, they're not me. I just don't relate to them. I don't relate to either of them individually or together. At this point, my favorite couple, it might be Mauricia and Riley, but it also might be Becca and Thomas. They're a couple who's really growing on me. Thomas is someone who's grown on me a lot throughout the show. And Becca too, because I was not excited to see her on the beach to begin with. I was what is she doing here? She's only going because, she works for The Bachelor. But something about Becca and Thomas together, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. So I was happy to see them. They were probably my favorite promposal. But we have to talk about the superlatives because these are so fun. I love superlatives. So biggest flirt went to Kenny. Best kisser went to Mauricia because she licks toes. Prom king and queen went to Joe and Serena, obviously. And most likely to last forever went to Abigail and Noah, which we will get into in just a second. Mariah, is there any other superlatives that you would like to give out, or Fiona, of these people? Because I have a few. I think biggest drama starter would have been a good title, possibly going to Aaron, or most confrontational. Most likely to end up single could be Tia. Most likely to be on The Bachelor 10 years later could still be Tia. Those are just a few, but do you guys have any superlatives or agree with any of the superlatives that came out?
I agree with those. I feel I'm trying to think, what could be a good one for Riley? Most likely to get involved. Riley, I feel always ends up involved. Not necessarily
most likely to be
for worse.
Disappointed in Ivan.
Yeah. Riley's a good one.
Biggest flirt went to Kenny?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense though, because he's always naked and he did go on a bunch of different dates. I guess I see it. But I feel I want to say out of all of their 80s looks, I really liked McKenna's. If I was going to give out a best 80s costume, I thought hers, the colors just felt so 80s, so fun. I don't know. Mariah, do you have any? I feel I'm creatively running out of ideas.
I think speaking of Thomas, best comeback would be Thomas. We could not stand him on The Bachelorette, and when he first appearance on Bachelor in Paradise, we were all like, oh God, not this guy again. But I love him now. I feel like we've got to see like this whole other side of him. And I think he made a major comeback. Obviously, best bromance.
Romance.
I would give
James
that
and
to
Aaron.
Aaron and James.
Yes.
Gosh, I don't know. We might, yeah.
That's
I
a
think,
good
Romance is
one.
ooh,
good.
maybe who do we think is most likely to come back to Paradise multiple times?
Tia. Tia will never
Oh.
leave. Actually, Demi. Demi definitely wants to come
Right?
back, but she left the
Demi.
show.
Demi.
Or
I don't know.
even
I wanted to be
Noah.
there.
I
Ooh.
feel like Noah's
Noah.
vibe, like he like was kind of acting. I mean, we'll get into it, but he was kind of acting like this just didn't work, but like it could have. Like I feel like I could see Noah being like, it almost worked with Abigail, but she wasn't my person. I'm back on the beach, you know?
Yeah.
Well, don't say that. It wasn't her person. How many times are you gonna say that? She was
Yeah.
getting so upset about that. We have to get into the Abigail and Noah like saga because that was so dramatic. But we do have to talk about Aaron and Tia first because this was also insane. So Aaron decided to pull Tia aside and kiss her out of nowhere, which made no sense to me for multiple reasons. One, he just tried to fight Ivan over Chelsea like a day and a half ago. Two, Aaron and James are best friends, and James has been like obsessing over Tia for a couple of weeks, putting in a lot of effort. And it just makes no sense. And I don't understand why Aaron and Tia, and now they're going to be a thing because we saw them in a teaser last week that they might even be a thing. Like, Mariah, what do you make of this?
I too was blown away because as soon as I saw that, I started thinking back on the entire season and what we've seen, and I'm like, what are the Aaron and Tia moments that we've been missing? Like, when did this like love for her form? I mean, I didn't even realize he had a crush on her. Why is he just now like trying to say something? I mean, it was touched on this latest episode that Aaron has been very loyal. Like, whoever he's been coupled up
Mm-hmm.
with, he's shown full loyalty towards them. And I think this, given the bromance that he and James has, there definitely had to have been a conversation that we didn't see go down. Like, hey, I really want to shoot my shot here with Tia. What are your thoughts? And I feel like James would have been cool with it. He did pursue
Mhm.
Tia, but I think James was just trying to lock something down. Like, he was not having any luck, so he was trying to give everything like a good shot. And Anna came in and he found a good connection with her. So maybe that conversation between Aaron and James happened after James's date with Anna, but totally shocked. I did not see it coming at all. But they looked like, for the rest of the episode, like they looked like they were having a great time together. So maybe they're a great connection. I mean, do I think that there's an engagement coming out of this? No, I really don't. I think they're kind of a
Maybe.
weird couple, but I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week with them.
Yeah, Fiona, are you shipping Aaron and Tia? Is this the couple we did not know we needed?
No, I mean, honestly, I feel so bad because I actually really like Aaron, but I haven't really felt any of his connections. Like, I feel like I've been rooting for him, but I don't think that I've seen like a real, true, like exciting spark for him this season, which of course isn't his, fault. I totally agree with Mariah. I just do not believe that, especially after Aaron got so angry at Ivan for kissing the girl that he was talking to, he would like go and do that without James's blessing. I don't buy it for a second. And I feel like as much as we love James and Aaron, and as important it is to Aaron to weed out people who are not there for the right reasons, you can't say that these two haven't understood the strategy of if we don't figure something out, we're going home. And they have more than one reason, right, that they would want to potentially continue to be there. The most pure of which, of course, being if we stay, maybe the woman of our dreams will show up, right? So I think that for James, as much as even for Tia, right, during some of that, it was about playing the game. And I think that while none of us saw this coming, I'm just not expecting a duel from Aaron and James next week. Like, I just don't buy it. I
Probably
think
not.
there's no way he would do this without his blessing.
I mean, there has been multiple times Aaron's, gotten boys' faces, but yeah, we have to remember though, Tia was the only person that went to the prom single because Natasha skipped out because she was sick. So I kind of feel like producers may have told Aaron to like go kiss Tia, or maybe Aaron felt bad for Tia that she was the only one single. But either way, like Chelsea definitely felt some type of way about it because she never had a conversation. Mariah, what do you think? Like, is Chelsea's reaction? Do we think that Chelsea's just gonna I feel like Chelsea just might leave the beach because she's probably over Aaron's shenanigans.
I think she was definitely justified in being upset because, yeah, he should have had a conversation with her prior, or I mean, I would say immediately after, but I still don't think that's a good move. Like, it was a little shady. I mean, from what we've seen, what's been captured on camera is Aaron was all about Chelsea and he was going to fight for her, and like he was not going to let someone be shady and get in the way of their relationship. And then he goes and steals Tia away and has this special moment with her. I mean, that's shady. Now, I don't think Aaron is a shady person, so it's hard for me to think like, oh, he did that with the intent to be shady. But she definitely deserved a conversation beforehand. Like, hey, I don't want to live in regret. I can't deny that I've had feelings for Tia. I never saw a window for us, but given that there's only a week left, like, I have to create an opportunity. Like, literally anything. He could have said literally anything. So maybe Chelsea does leave. There's only a week left. So it's like, sure, maybe someone great comes down the stairs, but it's like, at this point, what are you going to do? I mean, what could you really hope to come out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone else is coming in, considering next week's the finale. I don't know if they know that or not, because even Anna said, on her TikTok today that she didn't even know that she was coming in so late. The producers told her she was coming in week 2, so she had no idea that it was like literally the end of the show. So yeah, people are gonna break up at this point, because if you're not getting engaged, you gotta go. And the first couple, our first power couple to break up, we have to pour one out for Abigail and Noah. This was really devastating, like, for so many reasons, even though we all saw it coming. But, like, Abigail was about to tell Noah that she was falling in love with him, and I feel like Abigail was just so wishy-washy, because Noah even said the night before that he was falling in love with Abigail and got no response, which I thought was kind of strange. So Noah ultimately decided to end things with Abigail, and this show ended with Abigail crying in the bathroom, so maybe they'll rekindle things, maybe they'll work things out. But this was shocking and devastating. Fiona, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we haven't seen that much from Noah and Abigail, except for like happy little bursts, right? Happy little moments, except for that other conversation that they had weeks ago when things were a little bumpy. And it was kind of the same issue for Noah. Like, he felt like he wasn't sure where they stood. Like, he was putting effort out and not receiving, the same. Meanwhile, Abigail felt like she wasn't getting enough. Like, they seem to have not perfected, and we haven't seen it, right? Because we haven't seen anything, but it feels as though what we haven't seen is them not perfecting their communication style, not being able to communicate their feelings with each other, certainly not being able to reassure each other. I didn't necessarily love Abigail's prolonged silence when, at least the way it was edited, it appeared as though Noah was pouring his heart out to her. But I also feel like she is 100% justified in saying that he blindsided her, because if he wanted to sit down and have the conversation of, I told you I was falling in love with you, you didn't say it back, that hurt my feelings, that's one thing. Going from I'm falling in love with you to in my gut, I don't think you're my person is a whole other conversation. It's a whole other thing. It feels like he's been, at least at some stage of the game, dishonest with himself at the very least, if not dishonest with her. I don't know how you guys feel, but that really struck a chord with me. It did not feel fair.
Yeah. Mariah, how did you feel about Abigail questioning Noah's sincerity?
I completely agree with you, Fiona. I do think that, there had to be so much pressure on both of them to have this perfect relationship, because literally everyone on the beach, pretty much the entire audience watching, thought that they were like the strong. I didn't ever think they were the strongest couple. Honestly, I thought, like, sure, they were cute and they had like sweet moments, but I didn't see it with them. I felt like they were boring, and not like I wasn't entertained by them, but they weren't entertained with each other. And they got comfortable, and it was like, well, let's go ahead and try to make this work because we've been doing it so long. So do I think this was messy? And I totally feel for Abigail. I do think she was blindsided. He should have had a conversation with her like, hey, so remember when I told you that I was falling in love with you? Like, I got to tell you how you not saying anything makes me feel. Because if you don't feel similarly, then we should probably go our separate ways. But him just like making the decision to end things was rough. And I think it was poorly executed. At prom, I know. The night she was gonna tell him that she was falling in love with him. I mean, that's rough. But you know what that tells me is they had very poor communication, which tells me also that which he mentioned, like it feels forced. Just because you're comfortable with someone, just because you do really care for them and even have love for them as a person, as an individual, doesn't mean that you are meant to be together romantically. If you can't master just, or not even master, but if you can't even just perform basic communication, it's not it. It's not it, babe. Like you got to find something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel for her. What a horrible like way for that to go down, but they weren't it. I mean, she's not his person. I'm sorry to say it again, and he is not her
Say it
person.
again.
Because if he was her person, then she would be, you know, hey, I'm falling in love with you. Like they just were they slow played each other way too much. And I do think, like, not to criticize Abigail, but I feel like I have to get this out. I think she should look at this season as like, hey, you know I like to take things slow, and that's okay, whatever your preferences are, but you need to realize, like, if you want to create something serious with somebody, you're going to have to move at a little bit of a quicker pace, because it's not productive to move that slow. There's too much that gets left open and unsaid, and I said it and she needs to hear it, and I hope that she looks at this in reflection and like, okay, well, none of us are perfect, but like I need to improve in this area.
Yeah, because if she maybe said to Noah, I'm falling in love with you too, that could have changed things, but it really looked like she was waiting around and not putting as much effort in. And that's kind of where I'm more on Team Noah's side. He totally blindsided her, and he should have not have done that at prom, but I really feel like Noah kept on trying with Abigail multiple times, and at this point, like, she just wasn't giving enough. And like, what are you gonna do about it? I don't think they're meant to be. I think they're two completely different people. I follow both of them on Instagram. I could never imagine them being together, let alone Noah living in New York City. Like, they're just from opposite worlds of the planet. But I still, like, I'm gonna miss them. I really am, because I can't wait to see what happens next week, but I'm gonna miss them because I did love them as a couple. Fiona, what do you think is going to happen next week? We're going to start getting the clips up and start previewing next week's episode, but where do you think the Abigail Noah is going to take us? Because right now she's crying in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that shed through, whether he was talking to the camera or talking to her, like, was that this was hard for him, and that was kind of the saving grace in my eyes, because if you look at the progression of their relationship, right, it's like, oh, we've, found an initial connection. We've gotten closer. We've had some serious conversations. We've started to have the most serious conversations. It's about to be get together or break up and go home, right? And you could argue that he was like, all right, show's over, made it all the way through. I'm not going to make it work with this girl long term. Got to cut the cord. I wouldn't argue that, though, based on how sad he genuinely seems to be, right? So I think that what we're going to see from both of them is a lot of tears and at least some yelling, because she was angry, right? She was not happy. She said it point blank. We heard it from her, like, I feel blindsided. And as we just discussed, I think she does have some ground to stand on there. So I think she's going to come out of that bathroom probably pissed. They're going to have it out a little bit. And I think both of them are going to leave feeling really torn up and sad, which I hate to say, but I don't see it taking a turn from here. I think that her ego took too much of a hit for him to be able to be like, never mind, I don't mean it. You know what I mean? Let's try to give this another go. I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, I don't think it will work either, but what's interesting is they've been posting together on Instagram like all season long. I don't know if they're just like posting because they're on a TV show and, a power couple, this is obviously the way to get the views or to keep the viewers engaged, but I do feel like they are friendly. I think they were spotted together in New York City last week and hanging out with a bunch of Bachelor people, so I think that they are at least friends, and maybe the door is not completely closed, but they definitely aren't each other's person. So let's just keep saying it again. We're about to get the clips up for next week. We have so much to go through because next week is the 3-hour season finale. So we know a lot is going to go down. There's still 16 people on the beach left, maybe 18. I don't know. There's just so many people. So everyone's going to be dropping like flies. But let's take a look at this first clip to see what is going to go down between, it looks like Abigail's crying here. Her cute little bow.
It's the most dramatic finale in Bachelor in Paradise history.
Take your relationship to the next level, or are you not?
Wow. Mariah, what are you making of that clip? It seems like Abigail is getting consoled to by Serena and Mari, and it looks like the prom really took a turn.
Okay, so here is my prediction. Serena and Abigail are so tight. I'm thinking Abigail is like, I want to leave, I'm going to go. And because Serena was crying too, she looked not just like crying, like, this is so sad that my friend is feeling this, but like very, very upset. So that kind of makes me think, well, maybe Abigail is just going to leave. I mean, when you get your heart broken and there's a week left too. It's like, well, there's no reason for me to be here. I mean, all you want to do is be separated from that environment. So maybe Abigail just leaves. I don't know. That's kind of my prediction just based off of this clip.
And if she leaves, that means Noah is going to leave as well. And that they're donezo. I hope that it doesn't psych other couples out, but it also should be a wake-up call, because if you're not going to get engaged and you don't have a plan to make this work after the show, now would be the time to leave. Maybe not in the middle of prom, but like at least the next morning, because there's like 3 days left. But Becca and Thomas are also a couple that started about halfway through the season. We're going to have to see what happens with them next week. So let's take a look at this next clip and see if Becca and Thomas are going to make it last.
Paradise is coming to a close.
3 hours of drama.
And having this internal battle, I feel like you're too good to be true.
I don't want you to leave here.
Why is Becca telling Thomas he's good to be true? Is this supposed to be the other way around? Fiona, can you translate?
Well, listen, if we think back to Katie's season, his authenticity is kind of what's always been in question. I feel like he's like Mr. Suave. He always kind of knows the right thing to say. And what we couldn't figure out in Katie's season is that just his personality and he's not having malicious intent behind it? Or is he playing an angle? Is he playing a game? And obviously in Katie's season, it was determined that he was playing an angle, right? He wants to be the Bachelor. He's got to get out of here. What did she say? Your Bachelor audition's over or whatever it was. Like, it didn't work for him there. I liked him week after week more and more. Oh my goodness, you're so amazing. I've liked him week after week, like more and more in Paradise. So I really want to believe that his personality is just, he's that kind of guy that tries to say the right thing, tries to impress people, tries to, make everybody happy all the time, to a positive end. And I really, really hope that nothing happens that causes Becca to feel blindsided by him, right? I hope we don't catch him in another lie. I hope he doesn't let us down, because he definitely rehabbed his image at least a little bit, right? And it would be really sad if in the finale episode, all of that comes crashing down again. I don't know. I have high hopes, though. I'm hopeful that we still like him by the end of this.
It kind of looks like she's just breaking up with him because she's not ready to get engaged or is just worried about the situation. But, I mean, if there's also been rumors that they're still together and that maybe they broke up on the show and reconnected. So I can't wait to see what happens with their love story. Mariah, what do you think is going to happen? Are you rooting for them as a couple, or do you think it's just a weird pairing?
I actually am. I see them together in the real world. Like, I really love them. And yes, like you said, Fiona, like his authenticity has 100% always been in question, even a little bit in Paradise. I mean, though each episode, it's like we kind of soften towards him more and more. But I feel like, what could he possibly have to gain from being phony at this point? He's not going to be the Bachelor. There's no way he doesn't know that. Like, it's never going to happen. That ship has sailed. He can come back to Bachelor in Paradise, but it's like nobody's going to care at that point. He's always going to be the guy who just like tries to say all the right things, but always falls short. So I feel like he is being genuine. I think he does really like what he has with Becca, but I don't blame her for feeling like, wow, do I feel like I trust this person enough that I really barely know, that has such a rocky past, enough to get engaged. So I really love them though. Like, I never thought I would say that about anybody with Thomas. And I'm with you, Zachary. Like, I didn't love that she came to Paradise either. I was kind of like, girl, like, what are you doing here? Let someone else shoot their shot. But I really do like them together. So I ship them. I hope it works out. Even if it doesn't work out now, I hope that rumor that they're together now is true.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. We're going to get all the answers to our questions. You know, I can't wait to see the storyline play out. Next week literally is the finale, finally. But let's see what else is happening on the beach, because it looks like a lot of couples are going to be dropping like flies, which we obviously predicted. But let's kind of see by this next clip who we think is going to make the cut and who is going to just skedaddle.
Romance.
Love you too.
And tears.
It's definitely scary. We're literally dropping like.
Okay, I mean, who do we think is leaving? Right now I'm seeing Anna saying her goodbyes, and it looks like Serena and Joe, Maury and Kenny are pretty solid, and then James is walking down the beach. Thomas is crying. Mauricia is a little worried. What are you making of this clip, Fiona?
You know, I think that James is looking around, and I feel like he's a good guy. And I feel like he says to Anna, like, listen, I don't think we can leave paradise together. I certainly can't get engaged. Like, I do feel like my time on the beach has come to an end. Because, again, his time on the beach, he's been there since day one. He's probably ready to pack his bags and just go, right? Cash out and be like, well, at least I made it through the season. And she's probably going to take that kind of hard because she just got there. So I think they're going to drop quickly. I think that Thomas and Becca are going to be a roller coaster of emotions, but I don't think that they are done with this crying conversation. I mean, we've already seen it. I don't know if they put that clip in this teaser as well, where she like is going to run after him.
Yeah.
I don't know what I make of those two just yet. But Mauricia, I think she and Riley are going to probably be fine. It's hard for me to predict with them because we've seen a lot of different clips sprinkled in and a lot of different teasers that send different directions. I don't know. I'm nervous, though. I feel like I'm just nervous for everyone, basically. Even Serena and Joe. Like, I'm nervous for everybody.
Well, the next clip that is in the trailer is actually going to be Becca, what it looks like, running to Thomas. So let's just play that, and then Mariah, I want to get your take.
Who will get engaged?
Thomas! Oh my god. I did not see that coming.
Who will go home broken?
Okay, this is giving me flashbacks to when Katie chased Andrew S. on her season down the stairs, but this time Becca and Thomas are kissing. So do we think they broke up and then she changed her mind before he left? Mariah, what do you think?
I kind of feel like I said earlier, she's probably having doubts. I don't know if I can fully trust this person enough to get engaged at the end of this. And then that to me is like, and she's justified in thinking that. I think that's responsible to consider every avenue. But she could also be getting in her own way of like something real and something strong. So maybe she realized, like, what am I thinking? Whether we get engaged or not, this is so great. And so maybe this is a like total rom-com moment where she's running up into their arms and like, I want to make this work with you. Let's leave right now moment. I mean, it totally could be. I obviously look into spoilers. I don't think that they are getting engaged, but it is possible maybe they leave this episode together because they are fully about each other. I mean, this looked like a very passionate kiss, right? Like this does not look like especially after the hard conversation that we already saw took place. I hope this kiss comes after and not before, and this isn't just a play on editing because this looks so passionate. Like, okay, whatever the obstacles are, let's make it work.
I mean, Becca's not getting engaged. She was literally the Bachelorette and was engaged and with the guy from the show. So I don't think she's trying to go back on The Bachelor and get engaged again, but I can't wait to see what happens with these two play out. In this next clip, we're going to see Riley and Mauricia. They have been a solid couple since day one on the beach. Will they get engaged? Will they leave together? Will they break up? Let's see if we can find out in this next clip.
I've been thinking over and over, this is something like we want to continue.
If they break up, I will actually like not believe in love anymore. Like they have been so solid and they fit so well. She's crying. Like, why is she crying? I'm assuming her in a bathrobe is like after overnight, so they're gonna be doing the fantasy suites next week. So what is happening here, Fiona?
I have this feeling that she is a little more fairy tale romance than Riley is. And I think she thought that they were going to get engaged. I firmly believe that is where her head is. I feel like this conversation, even though he seems super serious and it feels like it has a heavy tone, you're so right to point out the location. They're on the beach when this happens. She is in a bathrobe. We know fantasy suites come right before the end. I feel like that conversation is actually going to go pretty well. I feel like it's Riley telling her that he actually does see a future for them and her agreeing. But then I think during fantasy suites, that next step conversation is coming. And I think she wants to get engaged. And I don't think that he is the type of person to get engaged after this short amount of time in a reality that, let's face it, just isn't real life. It doesn't strike me as his personality. I hope that's what it is, because I think even though she may be crying here, that doesn't mean that their relationship completely fizzles and has no hope. It would just have to be an adjustment on her part. Could be totally out on a limb there. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I'm really hoping that it's just a rough patch and they figure it out.
Because they can still leave the show together without getting engaged. Like you mentioned, that's a good point. Riley is very logical. He's a lawyer. He's been very by the book. He doesn't seem like the type to make careless decisions. So I think it's possible that he might have to tell Mauricia that he's just not ready to get engaged, but maybe he still wants to stay with her. Mariah, are you rooting for them as a couple? Do you think that they can last after Paradise?
I for sure do. I think they're both very serious and intentional with one another. I think it was this episode where Riley, maybe it was last week's or Monday's, where he was giving his interview and he was like, I can see us just waking up on Sunday and me making breakfast for us and the kids, and she doesn't know how I do it yet, but she will. Like, that is so intentional. That speaks on this man has already been thinking about a like married and with kids future with her. So I think he is 100% about her, but we also have heard from her, she worries that she's more into him than he is to her, which I think is just a miscommunication. Like, that just kind of comes down to a miscommunication, something not being communicated that needs to be. So maybe if her hopes are set on an engagement and he tells her like, hey, like, I am all about you and I am all about this, I want to make it work, but I don't think we're ready for that step yet. I can see her that being really emotional over that, but I do think they're going to work. I mean, I really, really am rooting for them because I love that. I think it was that interview where he was like describing their Sunday morning and what it was going to look like down in the future. I think that's when I really fell in love with their relationship. So I think it's going to work out for them. I mean, she looks so sad here, but I think they're going to make it through.
I know. What are you crying about, Marissa? Let us know. But somebody else who has been crying a lot this season is Kendall, and I was floored when she came back because I feel like I know a lot of spoilers, and I did not expect Kendall to show back up on the beach. Completely floored. Let's take a look at this clip because what is she doing here? Like, why is she back?
And just when you think you've seen it all,
Oh my god. Is that Kendall?
think again.
Okay, like, who wants to go first? Like, I have so much to say. Anyone?
Oh my God. No, I can go first because honestly, I feel like I have to be quick or I could rant about this for days. I feel like she is getting played like a fiddle by producers. This is not cool, right? Why is she coming back? Why are they giving her the power to come back, right? Like, what's going on there? I don't care who you are. Producers should be saying no. Don't they want to have any engagement this season? Why are they making it so difficult for Joe and Serena? Like, let them have their moment. Let them be happy. Kendall does not get to do whatever Kendall wants to do. I think this is totally unfair. I think it's a huge mistake. And I think that she's sitting at home somewhere feeling embarrassed by this because it's a little embarrassing. I ranted anyways, but oh my God, this is it is cringe.
It's a lot embarrassing. Like, why is she better be getting a good paycheck from The Bachelor. Now, I actually don't think she's coming to win Joe back. I think that she's coming to, like, let him free and, like, give him permission or just, like, healing. Like, I just let it free, let it be. And I think that's kind of what it is because I mean, what is she expecting Joe to propose to her? Like, he didn't do that the first time. Like, is she coming with a plane ticket to Chicago? Like, what? So I kind of think for whatever reason, Kendall thinks that
that's better.
This will be healing for her. And I think that, I don't know why she thinks that. I don't think Joe cares. I don't think Serena cares. I don't think anyone that watches the show wants to see Kendall back. No shade to Kendall because I do like her. but like she just looks desperate and ridiculous. So she better be getting a good check from The Bachelor. Mariah, what do you think?
I hope it's that and not her thinking like I cannot like because she left very much still in love with Joe, not over them, wanting it to like be her and Joe, and it just wasn't. So I hope this isn't her like I have to shoot my shot one last time before it's too late and he proposes like because that is so selfish to me. You know, he mentioned I think the episode that she left if she really loved me, if she really wanted me, she wouldn't have come on the show to try to win me back. Like she would have already made that move before we were on in paradise. And I think that's so true. Like this just to me is so selfish. He has something real with somebody that is like whatever we need to do to make it work. I think we're going to because we both want to. And you know what it comes down to is she wasn't willing to and neither was he because neither one of them wanted to make that move. Neither one of them really had a mutual idea of what their future was going to look like and who was going to take that next step. So I hope that it is not her coming down there to shoot her shot one last time because I think that's so selfish. And it's like, don't ruin what could be a treasured moment for the rest of their lives. You know, if they do end up being the real deal and like they're like
For real.
happily ever after for the long run, like don't have like imprinted this moment with your selfishness. So I also think though, like Fiona, to your point, like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying and so typical of Bachelor producers to make a moment that should be so special and romantic have some type of drama attached to it. It's like, I don't even care to see that. Like, yes, I love to watch the drama unfold, but I don't even care to watch it if you're going to ruin something so special. Like, this is the last episode. This is what we've all been waiting for. Not for freaking Kendall to come down the stairs and either be like, I'm giving you my blessing, or B, like, are you sure I'm not the one you want? I mean, none of us want to see
For
that.
real. And she's clearly coming down on engagement day because she's walking and Joe is here. And we just saw this shot of Kenny and Mari with roses. So I'm assuming that they're going to at least give each other their final rose. We don't know if they're going to get engaged or not, but that is something to look at. But Kendall's literally showing up the day of the engagement. Why doesn't she show up the day before or 2 days before that? What is she doing? Like, it's just so confusing. I don't know what she thinks she's going to get out of it. Fiona, do you think this is Kendall's opportunity or chance to become the next Bachelorette? Is she trying to seem like she's so brokenhearted so she can get that edit?
Listen, I hope you're right. I don't know why I hadn't even considered that maybe she is there to try to like set him free, because I guess that would be the best version of this. I think I just panicked. So I cannot tell you how much I hope you're right. I still don't think she should do it, but I really hope that that's where she's there. That being said, I think that if you're playing the PR game in your own mind, maybe you think that will help your image. Whether or not producers are trying to come in and give her a Bachelorette edit at this point, I don't think so, because I think that if they're trying to make someone get a Bachelorette edit, right, it's been Natasha, because Natasha has been shown in such a good light. She's been likable. She's got so much screen time. Her heart has been broken, but she hasn't been obsessed with one person. I do think it's kind of hard to say that Kendall's been given any sort of Bachelorette edit, because she's just shown up really into one person, not being open to finding love. And that's kind of the big thing, right? Your Bachelor, your Bachelorette has to be so open to finding love, so open to the process, so open to this journey. She has not been open. So even if she sets him free, right? Like, even if she sets him free at the end here, I think it's way too big of a leap. And we're going to get so many new girls. We have a new Bachelor, finally, right? Like, I don't think that this edit is strong enough to create a Bachelorette campaign. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I feel.
She might be trying. We have she could be trying. Wait, we have one more clip, the last clip, which we're going to see Kendall in. So let's see what this is, and then we'll get to the Q&A.
She's absolutely trying to stop this right now.
Don't miss the shocking and emotional season finale next Tuesday night.
Literally, Mari and Kenny are just watching this go down. Joe has a ring. He's about to propose to Serena. If I was Serena, I would have thrown a drink on Kendall weeks ago because she has tried to interfere in this relationship so many times, and now she has the audacity to try and interfere on the engagement after everything she's already done the entire time she's been on Paradise. If I was Serena, I would hate Kendall with a burning passion, like so much. Mariah, what else do you think we could see on this finale at this point?
I feel like I do think Serena's love for Joe is like strong enough to get through this, but I do feel like on a day that's supposed to be so special and is so full of so many intense emotions, having an ex show up for the second time trying to like interfere with that would almost make me feel like, gosh, is this what I have to expect for the rest of our relationships? Like,
She's showing
how
up
much
in Chicago.
longer? Yeah, how much longer am I going to have to share my relationship with her because she keeps like intruding on it? I mean, it would definitely, I don't know. I do feel like we just talked about potential scenarios, but I can't help but feel like Kendall is just trying to ruin everything and throw a wrench in everything and stop the engagement, which there's so many rom-coms about. I mean, I keep thinking My Best Friend's Wedding. I feel like that happened in that movie.
I'm thinking
Julia
like Kourtney Kardashian and like Scott Disick when Scott had to break up with Sophia because, or Sophia had to break up with Scott because Scott was so busy with, his ex, Kourtney, hanging out with her all the time. And it's just like, it becomes a factor. It becomes an issue. If your ex is crazy or if your ex keeps intruding on the situation, it's going to start to affect your relationship, regardless if you're over the ex or not. Kendall keeps popping up. She better be getting paid because she's looks so bad and desperate right now. And obviously we didn't see the episode, so of course we can give her the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, maybe she's gonna come in and be like, here's your blessing, I'm your fairy godmother. But at this point, like, Kendall, you should have just went with Ivan because you guys are giving me the exact same energy right now. Kendall and Ivan forever. Fiona, what is your final thoughts on this trailer? This is the last teaser we have of next week.
I feel like it is promising a very solid finale. I personally, listen, they're basically showing us that Kenny and Mari are engaged. I do not feel like their journey has been in a straight line enough that is something I've seen coming, except for these teasers. So I think how they get there is going to be wild. Obviously, this Joe Serena Kendall stuff is going to be wild. We're going to see a lot of broken hearts. We're going to see couples dropping like flies, as I think it's Mauricia who says that. I am ready for this finale, and I think it's going to be an exciting end to the season. Like, they're saying it's going to be 3 hours. I think it's going to be a good 3 hours full of drama and chaos and romance and what this season deserved, honestly.
It's going to be a long 3 hours next week, and we will definitely be breaking it down. So much to unpack that we did today, but we want to open it up to you guys. So tweet us at Shared News your questions. We will answer them right now. Go into the comment section on YouTube. Let us know your opinions. Let us know what you think. Anything you have to ask or anything you want to say, any theories or predictions, definitely drop them down below. We want to hear what you guys have to say. And so far, there's been no word on a reunion. Like, Michelle's season is supposed to air October 19th, right? Or the 13th. Does anyone know? Even though we should know.
19th.
Okay, so next week is October 5th, which is going to be the finale. Okay, so we have 1 week in between because that's 2 weeks. So there might be a reunion actually between, but then why haven't we seen a teaser about it? Maybe we'll see a teaser about it next week. I'm just really wanting this reunion because it's been so difficult for me to listen to every single person's podcast because they keep on, everyone goes on one of the podcasts and dishes about their story. It's so hard to keep up on. So I'm just we need a reunion so everything could be sorted out. Mariah, who would you want to see host that reunion? I mean, I think there's an obvious answer, but who do you want to see host the Bachelor in Paradise reunion if there is one?
I mean, everyone at Shared News knows that I am a big Wells fan. I love him. I honestly think that him being the co-host or the guest host was huge. All of the cast loved it because they're also familiar and comfortable with him. And I think it was perfect. I honestly am still so disappointed that he's not going to be the forever host. But I also I loved David Spade. I thought he was hilarious. I don't know how serious I can take him though. When we get on more heavier topics, I mean, I don't know if he's the person I want to see kind of navigate that for people or mediate certain heavier topics, but I do love him. I think he's hilarious. Other than that, though, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to just
Palmer.
Point to Well. Well, yeah, that would be a good, like, because I'm not very familiar with him. So I think that might be good as a good introduction. Like, hey, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm like, and we'll be able to see how he introduce or how he kind of like gets along with Cass. So I think that actually, yeah, that could be a good idea. I still want Wells to do it, but
Yeah, I mean, I want Wells to do it too, but I wouldn't mind David Spade doing it because I think he'd be really good at it as well, and he could be serious and funny. I know what your concern is, but it should be David Spade or Wells to host the Bachelor in Paradise reunion if there is one. Jennifer says, "Please don't do it, Joe. Serena is not your person. Joe is not really over Kendall." No, I disagree, Jennifer. I'm sorry. I love you, Jennifer, but Joe is way over Kendall. Like, Joe has been over Kendall for over a year now. They literally broke up over a year ago before the season even started. Joe has fully opened himself to Serena, fully has given Serena all of his love and attention. Joe has never wavered once the entire season about how he feels about Serena. So I think Joe needs to be more aggressive. I think he could have told Kendall, get out of here, like, I'm not into you. I know he wanted to like take care of her because they did have a friendship, and you're always going to love somebody even if you are no longer in a relationship with them. But Joe is so over Kendall, and so am I. Period. Fiona, what does Playmate say?
Alrighty, Playmate says, Ivan was a backstabber. He wanted a rose that night. I am glad he left. Good vibes. Yes, I mean, I think that Ivan literally lost himself that night. I think that he has been a very consistent character throughout his time on Tayshia's season, to where we are now. And I feel like it happens to the best of us. He lost himself. He played some desperate moves out. I honestly think he's not comfortable being a liar and a backstabber. And that is why it didn't work. That is why he got caught. That's not who he is. It was not a good look. And I am awaiting this podcast interview that he is promising, because I want to know what, if anything, got him to be in such a bad place.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll take this because it says Zach. Hey, Eduardo. Zach, Ivan kind of is a bad guy in last night's episode. He lied about Chelsea, and he lied about not going to accept her rose. That was so rude when he said, I wouldn't have accepted your rose anyway. Like, of course you would have. That was your whole point of trying to talk to Chelsea in the first place, so that you can make it another week, dump Chelsea, and go out with this Alexa girl. So I definitely do agree that Ivan was a bad guy in that moment. He was shady, he lied, he was manipulative, he was desperate, but I don't think he's a bad guy overall, and I don't want Ivan to like leave the Bachelor franchise with that stigma, because we did fall in love with him on Tayshia's season. We did fall in love with him, the first half of Paradise. And of course, Ivan he's a good guy deep down, but he definitely has a lot of growing up and maturing to do, especially if he's like trying to fight Aaron. Like, that's never a good look. You don't want to engage with people that, instigate and poke at you. And, Ivan, he obviously has to go on this podcast and tell his side of the story so that we could move on. And I look forward to hearing that as well, just like Fiona and Mariah. Mariah, what is Harry saying?
Harry says, don't forget Chelsea kissed Ivan right in front of Aaron. Okay, yes, that's true, but we did talk about, it's hard to give them grace because we've been watching the entire season, but Chelsea was still kind of new to the beach. So I feel like, he expressed an interest in her, and I didn't really know what she was thinking, because at first I thought she called him, homie? So it's like, oh, okay, friend zone. She's not interested in him. Like, most women kind of just see Ivan as a friend. There's another woman who is no different. And then she kissed him, and I did think that was weird, but I don't think that she owed a certain loyalty to Aaron to where she couldn't kiss somebody, explore something new with somebody, because she still was relatively new to the beach.
But Aaron did a whole runway show for her. Don't you think that's so special and so thoughtful?
Yeah, so sweet.
Chelsea should have been more loyal to Aaron. And also, like, Aaron's the only person that is taller, besides Thomas, that is taller than Chelsea to begin with. So Ivan and Chelsea were never going to work out. I feel like they were just friends. And if I was Chelsea, I would not even want to be Ivan's friend after the way he acted at the rose ceremony and was like, I wouldn't even accepted your rose. Like, poor Chelsea. Chelsea has been through so much, like, with everything with Aaron and Ivan. Like, Chelsea's getting a lot of, like, the short end of the stick here. Fiona, would you like to see Chelsea be the Bachelorette, or do you want to see her come back to Paradise?
I love Chelsea. I mean, listen, I would not say no to her as the Bachelorette. I think she's great. I definitely think she deserves another round in Paradise and she needs to be there week 1 or week 2. I mean, this was like not enough time. She's totally a hot commodity. I think she's personable. I think she's entertaining. She's got to get some sort of storyline past this because she didn't get to find love, and that's what she was there for.
Facts on facts. Jamie says, yes, I agree about Natasha being the next Bachelorette. We literally need Natasha for Bachelorette. Now, we need to remember there has been 4 Bachelorettes this year. There has been Claire, there has been Tayshia, there has been Katie, or maybe last year. But there's just been so many Bachelorettes with the extra seasons and then what happened last year, 4 Bachelorettes. It's going to be a while before we get another Bachelorette, but if Natasha is still single, I would love to see her be the Bachelorette. I totally think she deserves that, and I would love to see it. Out of everyone from this season, either her or Tajwan deserves their own Bachelorette season. Can we all agree with that?
Yes.
You love Tajwan. I hope we see her again. I do. I hope we see her again.
If there's a
Raymond...
reunion.
Yes, if there's a reunion for sure. Raymond says, so upset with Kendall. What is she doing? Could not agree more. I mean, I feel like that is the question we all have. It's just, what is she doing? Even if, as Zachary pointed out, she is there to let Joe go. What is she doing? Because Joe, the last time they spoke, said, I came here because I feel like this chapter is closed. I'm over you. I'm ready. He doesn't need you to let him go, right? He's already free. He's flapping his wings. She should not be there. She should not.
Kendall may be looking for Ivan. I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that, but he's looking in the wrong place. Ivan is in the hotel room. Kendall, where were you in that hotel? Like, did you take the plane? Did you leave? Imagine Kendall's room number was there too. Would he have knocked on her door as well? That would be so funny if Kendall was looking for Ivan. But I want to point out, Kendall also did say on the Talking Out Loud podcast with Brian Abasolo and Mike Johnson, she said something along the lines of the fact that she knew that if she wanted to be with Joe, she would have said something before Paradise. And like the fact that she said that even after filming still makes no sense to me. Like, unless she is willing to show up in Chicago, there's just no reason to like play back and forth. And I really hope that Serena plans on moving to Chicago, because it was interesting when they started to talk about their future. What do you think the future could hold between Serena and Joe, Mariah? Do you think she's going to move to Chicago right after the season?
I don't know about right after. When they had their conversation about how they were going to make it work because they wanted to, I kind of thought about Katie and Blake. They were still in 2 different places. They were kind of interviewing each other's homes. Now, we know that Joe has been pretty clear about how he does not want to leave Chicago. His family, his friends are there. He's very happy there. But I think Serena, knowing that, she wouldn't entertain it further. I mean, if you know someone's not ever going to move and you don't ever want to move, why would you entertain further a relationship if you know, like, okay, well, we're never going to see eye to eye on this? So I think Serena would be okay with moving to Chicago. I mean, it's not that she lives in LA or New York City right now. So she doesn't strike me as one of the men or women that go into Bachelor Nation that really want to live this like influencery life and this bougie city and like go to all these lavish parties. I think she really just wants to have a solid relationship and build a life with someone. And so I do see her moving to Chicago.
Okay. I mean, you know who else is in Chicago? Fiona, do you know who I'm going to say? Anna. Anna is in Chicago.
Oh.
So, I mean, this could be a missed opportunity. If Anna came in earlier, that is one girl who at least will stay in Chicago for you, Joe. So, I mean, I am really excited to see what happens between them two. Do you guys know where Mauricia and Riley are from? I think Mauricia said she's from Montana, and I don't remember where Riley is from, but I wonder what they will do after the beach. And then I know Mari is in Maryland, and Kenny is in Chicago. So Mari, maybe she'll move to Chicago. What do you think will happen with them? Fiona, what did you find?
Mauricia is in Atlanta, and Riley is in Detroit / New York City, is what his Instagram says. So
maybe they will move to New York.
Yeah, he's moving and grooving. I mean, it feels like everyone in Bachelor Nation is moving to New York, so maybe that's where those two will settle down. Trying to see if she's like posted from anywhere else lately, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm really hopeful for those two. I really am.
Yeah. How long do you think long distance could work, Mariah, before you have to move in together, especially coming off The Bachelor?
Coming off The Bachelor, I think it could be hard because you're in an environment where I guess I'll say Bachelor in Paradise, because you're in an environment where you see each other literally every day. You're spending all day together. So it can be hard to literally very quickly have to transition into not seeing each other and having to schedule out, okay, well, when am I going to come see you? When are you going to come see me? But speaking as someone who is in a long distance relationship that just the distance got longer, I really feel like if you are very serious about somebody, if the love is really there, then you can get through the distance. You're not going to put a time limit on how long you can do long distance and how long you're going to go before you move in with one another. I think that if you're strong enough, you respect that everyone has to move at their own pace and when the timing is right. And a strong couple can get through anything, regardless of time and distance. So I'm rooting for I think that the strong couples that we see right now, I will say, except for Mari and Kenny, I think Kenny has been very insecure in his relationship with Mari and her feelings for him. So I think that distance could be really hard on them, just because he seemed to strike me as just insecure within their relationship. So I don't know. I want to see them succeed because I really, really like them together. But I feel like distance might be harder on them if I had to choose anyone. I think Serena and Joe, they're going to be fine. I think Riley and Mauricia, that could get rough. But I see her moving closer to him. Maybe they go to New York City.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like what you said about it. Did Tayshia dodge a bullet by not picking Ivan and Brendan? Why don't we all answer at the exact same time? 3,
Yes.
2, 1, yes.
Yes,
She obviously dodged a
on
bullet. You were so excited to say it. It's like that TikTok trend where you close your eyes and you have to clap. Of course, Tayshia dodged a bullet. I mean, it's a lot of people were also saying online. They were like, thank God Ben Smith didn't go on to Paradise, because all of Tayshia's top 4 really got the short end of the stick. So, justice for Ben Smith. He made the right decision. What a crazy episode. What a fun live with you guys. This has been so much fun to dish about things, because I really did like last night's episode, and it's always fun to gossip with you in particular, both of you. So, final thoughts going into next week's episode. Fiona, you go first.
I, first of all, had so much fun. Love you both. And second of all, I am just excited. I just feel all sorts of excitement. I think we're going to get some proposals, some perhaps a little weird, some perhaps that we are rooting for. I think we're going to see some really devastating breakups. I need closure from Abigail and Noah. Like, I am just thrilled. Those are my final thoughts.
Yes. Mariah?
I am right there with you. I'm so excited. I feel like ending a season with one engagement is huge, but the fact that there might be 2 makes me so, so happy. Like I said, I love the drama, okay? Like, I wouldn't watch if I wasn't in it for the drama, but I want to see like the whole purpose of it actually fulfilled and people find real love and like get engaged, because that's so rare. People don't meet and fall in love in a couple of weeks and then get engaged. Like, they don't do that. I mean, maybe they should at least, but the environment is different when you're on the beach in Paradise. So I think that the fact that we could get 2 engagements is so amazing. I can't wait to watch it. I'm also like at the edge of my chair just thinking about Kendall coming in there and wrecking it, and it's already ticking me off just thinking about it. She better not do that. I mean, honestly, she shouldn't be there in the first place. Nobody cares if she needs to give him her blessing, whatever. But I'm very anxious to see it, because I'm like, God, what if, because, like I said, I ship Joe and Serena so hardcore. So what if she really does, Kendall ruins it and they don't get engaged, and I'm going to be devastated. So I'm like very anxious for next week's episode.
Me too. I might lose sleep over it. Mariah, we might even get 3 engagements. I'm not entirely sure, but we might get more than 2. So it will be interesting. And obviously, I am a very passionate Bachelor in Paradise fan. So I cannot wait to see how all of these love stories unfold. I want to cry, I want to laugh, I want to see the romantic engagements, and we will definitely be back here next week to discuss the finale. So make sure you guys are subscribed before you guys go and ring the bell so you never miss out on any future videos. And also don't forget before you guys go to comment down below. We want to read your thoughts and your opinions on this season of Bachelor in Paradise. Let us know your predictions, let us know your theories. Every time I can't think of a theory, if you guys comment one, it's amazing. So definitely let us know. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined today by the lovely Fiona Zaring and lovely Mariah Davis. Our social media handles are on the screen right now. Come give us a follow, come say hello, and we will catch you guys next time. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.